Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want to speak to you today about something that is not always seen with the eye, but is always felt by the spirit. I'm talking about your aura, the invisible influence, presence, and authority you carry with you wherever you go. Now hear me. Every human being is born with potential, but not every human walks in presence. Your aura is not about your height, your wardrobe, or your resume. It's the vibration of who you truly are. And as you grow in wisdom, in alignment, and in assignment, your aura begins to increase. Presence over performance means you no longer strive to impress people through constant action, flashy displays, or external validation. Instead, you carry a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and why you're here. When your aura is increasing, your identity is no longer tied to how much you do, how loudly you speak, or how visibly you succeed. You begin to understand that being rooted in purpose carries more power than being seen by people. This kind of presence is spiritual. It's the invisible weight of alignment. It's what makes people pause when you walk into a room. Not because of your clothing or your title, but because of what you represent. You become a carrier of atmosphere. You don't have to promote yourself because your presence does the talking. Your stillness becomes louder than others' noise. It's the difference between someone who performs for applause and someone who moves with assignment. One entertains, the other transforms. When you walk in presence, you're not driven by fear of being overlooked. You're led by the assurance that what you carry cannot be denied. Presence speaks when performance stays silent. Peace is power because it reveals mastery over yourself. When your aura increases, you begin to realize that true strength is not proven by how loudly you respond, but by how deeply you remain grounded. Chaos may swirl around you, but it doesn't enter you. You don't react. You respond, and even then you respond from a place of clarity, not from insecurity or ego. That's power. There comes a point in your growth where your silence becomes more disruptive than other people's noise. You stop needing to argue your value or defend your position. You've learned that peace is not passivity, it's authority. It's not the absence of storms, but the ability to stay still within them. People begin to notice that they can't rattle you like they used to. The same situations that once triggered fear or anger now reveal your maturity. You carry peace not just for yourself, but for others. When your aura increases, your calm becomes contagious. You become the grounding force in tense situations, the steady voice in uncertain moments. You no longer operate from urgency, you operate from understanding, and that internal stability becomes an unmistakable source of influence, because when people can't shake your peace, they begin to respect your presence. Divine connections are attracted, not forced, because what is truly aligned with your purpose doesn't require manipulation, striving, or compromise. When your aura increases, it begins to act like a magnet, not for everyone, but for the right ones. The people, opportunities, and resources that match your assignment begin to recognize you. You don't chase them. They are drawn to the energy, the clarity, and the authority you carry. You stop begging for seats at tables that were never meant for you. You no longer try to fit into rooms where your spirit doesn't belong. Instead, you learn to trust timing, trust alignment, and trust that when you walk in purpose, provision will find you. The right people will enter your life not because you forced your way in, but because your presence and posture attracted their attention. As your aura increases, your life becomes orchestrated, not arranged. There's a difference. Arrangement is man-made. Orchestration is divine. You begin to realize that your assignment already includes your allies, those who don't just like you, but are sent to partner with what you carry. These connections often arrive unexpectedly, but always on time. They come with confirmation, not confusion. And when they show up, you don't have to shrink or perform. You just have to recognize them and be ready. That's when you know your aura is increasing, when your life stops revolving around effort and begins to move by alignment. Fewer words, greater weight means that as your aura increases, your speech becomes more intentional, more refined, and more impactful. You no longer speak just to be heard. You speak to bring clarity, to shift atmospheres, and to move things in the spirit and in the natural. You understand that true authority doesn't need volume to be recognized. It carries a tone, a cadence, a precision that makes people stop and listen. When you grow, you begin to realize that not every thought needs to be voiced, and not every opinion needs to be shared. You conserve your words because you understand their value. You weigh them before you release them. You're not silent because you have nothing to say. You're silent because you know that when you do speak, your words carry power, and power doesn't perform, it delivers. People begin to sense that when you open your mouth, something meaningful is about to happen. There's weight behind your words because they come from revelation, not reaction. You speak from depth, not from emotion, from understanding, not from ego, and that kind of speech can correct, uplift, challenge, and inspire all at once. Your words no longer aim to fill space, they're designed to fill purpose. That's when speech becomes leadership. That's when language becomes legacy. When your aura increases, your voice doesn't just communicate, it commands. Your environment mirrors your internal growth because as your mindset shifts, so does everything around you. When your aura begins to increase, you start to notice that the chaos you once tolerated now feels disruptive. Clutter bothers you, distractions drain you, shallow conversations no longer satisfy you. Why? Because your internal standard has changed, and now your external world is being required to match it. You no longer adapt to dysfunction. Instead, you begin to bring order, structure, and intentionality into your space. The people you surround yourself with begin to shift. The goals you set become clearer. The way you manage your time becomes sharper. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're now living from a deeper place of clarity and alignment. You start making decisions that reflect your future, not your past. You remove what no longer serves where you're going. You prune, you simplify, and you build, because your spirit is no longer content with survival. It's now focused on stewardship. And just like your inner world, your outer world begins to reflect excellence, discipline, and peace. It becomes evident to those around you that something within you has shifted. You're not just changing habits, you're shifting atmosphere. And that atmosphere speaks, even when you don't. Your environment starts to carry your new frequency. It becomes a visible sign of invisible transformation. You become the standard, not the follower, when your aura reaches a level where you no longer look to others for direction. You become the one others look to. You stop asking for permission to be who you are. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You walk into rooms with a quiet authority that says, "This is who I am," not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You're no longer influenced by the atmosphere. You influence the atmosphere. Your decisions are no longer based on trends, opinions, or pressure. You move according to conviction, purpose, and vision. While others are waiting to see what's acceptable, you're already walking in what's necessary. You become the example, not because you're trying to lead, but because your consistency, your integrity, and your presence naturally set the tone. When your aura increases, people start adjusting themselves around you. They raise their standard, they choose their words more carefully, they shift their energy, because your presence demands it, not through intimidation, but through influence. You no longer adapt to environments, you create them. You no longer lower your voice to fit in. You raise your standard to lift others up. Being the standard doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're grounded. It means you know who you are, what you carry, and why you were sent. And that kind of clarity doesn't follow culture. It shapes it. Aura growth is evidence of assignment, because when you step into the fullness of your purpose, your presence begins to carry weight. It's not just that people notice you, it's that they can sense something on you that goes beyond personality or talent. It's the confirmation that you're walking in something bigger than yourself. Your aura expands because your spirit is aligned with your assignment. You start to glow with conviction. You move with clarity. You speak with authority that doesn't come from position, but from divine placement. That's what happens when you're operating in your assignment. Your presence becomes prophetic. It tells the world without words that you were sent. You're not just living, you're fulfilling. Doors open not because you forced them, but because they were timed for you. Favor follows you because you're on the path you were designed to walk. Resistance might still come, but it can't stop you because your assignment comes with grace. And that grace shows up in how people respond to you, how opportunities find you, and how impact flows through you. Your aura becomes a visible manifestation of invisible alignment. It tells everyone around you that you're not wandering, you're on mission. It's not ego, it's evidence, not of what you've achieved, but of what you've accepted, the call, the purpose, the weight of why you're here. And once that's embraced, your aura can't help but grow. So now you've seen it. 5 signs that your aura is increasing, not in theory, not in wishful thinking, but in real, tangible evidence of inner transformation. Your presence is shifting. Your peace is stabilizing. Your connections are aligning. Your words are resonating, and your environment is beginning to reflect the order of your soul. But here's the truth. This growth is not random. It's on purpose, for purpose. You were never meant to blend in. You were never created just to survive. You were designed to carry something, to represent something, to become someone whose very presence causes things to move. When your aura increases, it's not just about how people see you. It's about what heaven is confirming in you. So walk boldly, move intentionally, speak wisely, and live fully aware that your aura is not just energy, it's evidence. Evidence that you are becoming who you were always meant to be, and the world is waiting, not for a perfect version of you, but for the aligned one. Because when your aura grows, your life stops echoing noise and starts releasing sound. Not just any sound, but the sound of purpose, the sound of authority, the sound of someone who was sent. And the sent don't just exist, they impact.